In very carefully. Oh,
That was not so carefully. All right, cool. Okay, so how are we doing? I have to wait for my camera to come into focus, that's it. So welcome back to another Facebook Live yoga class, and I hope you are having a good morning. I hope you had a good day yesterday, and what a rubbish day. Weather outside is miserable, and actually, I don't know what I'm gonna say, but I kind of wanted to preface this class with something, because I don't know about you, but we've been in lockdown for a while, and for me, I'm starting to get a little bit irate. So it's taken me this long, which I think is a pretty good run, but I'm starting to feel a little bit anxious, a little bit tetchy, a little bit, when is this going to be over? And I imagine a lot of you are feeling the same way, and I imagine that it's been exaggerated by the weather outside, because at least when it's sunny, we can go out for that 1 hour, we can get out in nature, and everything usually is made a little bit better with the sun. But it's miserable, we've been in this situation for a long time, and I just wanted to say I am there with you, and I hope that you are okay. And I don't want to get too coy, I don't want to get too sort of yoga, but what we're doing here by coming to these lessons, and what we're doing in this yoga class, is more than just jumping around for an hour. Obviously you get the physical benefits of moving your body, running, walking, weightlifting, CrossFit, boxing, yoga. Moving your body does make you feel good. Exercise is a necessity, that's why we're still being allowed out to do it. And if you aren't exercising and you're feeling low, I really recommend moving your body in some way. But beyond that, there is a lot of benefits of what we're doing here for your mental health, and I just want to talk about that just a little bit before we begin. Afternoon. So for me, yoga's my thing. You might find this in other ways. You might find it in painting, music, another form of movement. You might have your sort of thing, but we're doing some stuff here by you're showing up to every single class. You're showing up for yourself, and especially in yoga, we work on patience, we work on perseverance, and we work on commitment, dedication. So as you know, it takes a long time to get into postures, maybe several years to move a couple of inches, and the sort of lessons we learn in these classes, they're transferable. Showing up, being patient, those lessons we can apply to the situation we find ourselves in now. We've got to persevere, we've got to be patient, we've just got to wait it out, and we've got to be optimistic. If we weren't optimistic in yoga, that maybe one day we will be able to catch that bind, or maybe one day we will feel a little bit less anxious, maybe one day we will be able to meditate just a couple minutes longer. If we weren't optimistic in yoga, we wouldn't do it. So we're always looking forward at what we could do better, maybe what we could improve on, where we need to work on. And again, those are lessons that we can sort of take off the mat and apply to our current situation. I just wanted to say that because I think what we're doing is really important, and I really appreciate everyone tuning in, but I thank you for joining. It's nothing for me to run these classes, I'd be teaching anyway, but you keep showing up, which is amazing, and keep showing up every day. And even when you feel anxious in this lockdown situation, keep showing up, because you've got this. So I didn't really plan to say that. Before I came on, I was like, I just want to say a little something, because I think we're reaching the point now where I'm seeing a lot of frustration, I'm sensing a lot of frustration. I myself am frustrated. I was thinking about how amazing it would be to get out there and start teaching in person again, although I love the online classes. Being in person is a great sort of, there's an energy to it. And I feel like I wanted to say that, and I feel like because it's raining, everyone might be a little bit bluer. So what we're going to do today is we're going to move our body. We're going to move our body, we're going to practice patience, we're going to practice perseverance, we're going to show up, and we're going to have a good time. Really important. All right, so hopefully that made sense. But I've got you. If you ever need to chat, just give me a message, always here. So today, the actual class we're going to do is focusing on Janu Sirsasana. I can never say it. Janu A, B and C. Janu Sirsasana A, B and C. Head to knee pose. And it's a family of postures. A, B, C, there's 3 of them, and they're part of the Ashtanga sequence, Ashtanga seated postures, and they are hip openers as well as knee crunchers and feet killers. So I don't mean to be dramatic, but B and C especially demand a lot from our ankles. They demand a lot from our feet, our toes. Very tricksy little postures. A is a little bit better, but still, if you have tight hips, there's a real tendency for these postures to pull into the knees a little bit. So we're going to break these postures down. We're going to actually move quite a bit today after a couple of postures warming up, because I feel like we need to throw some energy at today. So we're going to do quite a few sun salutations, quite a lot of strength building postures, specifically chosen to work your knees, actually, to make your knees a little bit stronger. So to begin with though, we are going to do a couple of lion postures just to open the hips and the feet. If you have a block or a strap, keep those handy because they may be very beneficial later, especially if you have tight hips or knee problems. And as always, check with your doctor if you've got a specific concern about doing this video. And that's it. Feel like we're ready. Let's all come down onto the mat. So we've had a good chat. We had a good chat at the beginning of this video. So we're ready to move. All right, so let's come down onto the floor. We're just going to do 2 lion postures and then we're going to crack on. So if you want to come down onto your backs, and if possible, let's bring the soles of the feet together, let the knees fall out sideways. I'm a big fan of this posture, reclined bound angle. I love it because it is such a good passive way, very relaxing way to open up across the pelvis, into the hips and into the groin. So areas that, you know, we will be needing, especially hips today. So if you're in this position and it's comfortable, you're going to place the hands on the belly, rest them gently on the inner thighs, so not pressing down, or you can just rest the hands either side of the body, palms up. Gently pressing the feet together and then breathe in. So if this doesn't feel good, knees bent or legs straight is absolutely fine, but if you can, come into this posture. Back of the head on the floor, and then we're just going to spend a couple of moments checking in. So bringing the attention into the room. Again, one of the main reasons I practice yoga is because I can come to my mat with a very busy head and then leave my mat with a slightly less busy head. It doesn't always work, but a lot of the times it does. And what we're trying to do is forget about stuff. You know, we're not using yoga as escapism. We're very aware of what's going on. We care about stuff. We're not using it to escape reality, but just for this 1 hour, instead of getting caught up in what happened yesterday, what's going to happen later, anxiety, fear, worry, just for 1 hour, instead, we're just going to put them to one side and focus on the breath and focus on the postures, focus on the sensation in the bodies, get back to our bodies, and it's very grounding. It's a very sort of grounding tool to add to your toolbox. So the first thing we're going to do is focus on the breath. So just start to slow the breath down. Again, very good if you're feeling a little bit stressed, a little bit anxious. Breathe in deeply through the nose, making the inhales and exhales equal in length. And finding a slow, steady rhythm that's sustainable for you, something you can maintain. And breathing into the chest as well, so feeling the rib cage rise and fall. And as much as possible, we'll keep this rhythm going throughout the class. And the next thing we do, once we've established that, is take the attention around the body. Notice how you feel. If you feel a little bit tight today, if there's any aches and pains you need to be mindful of. So we're always working with our body in yoga. We're never working against it, never trying to force our body into shapes. That's not yoga. And just relaxing, everything's relaxed at this point. So hips are heavy, shoulders draw down towards the mat, and the chin tucks in ever so slightly towards the chest so the neck is long. We're just going to stay here for a couple more moments. And if you do get super tight hips, lying like this just for like 5 minutes a day or something is going to be really beneficial. And you can do whatever, can't you? You can read a book, you can watch television while you do it. Okay. Lovely. And then as you inhale, let's slowly bring the knees together if they're apart. And then let's just take a cat stretch. So point the toes down the mat, arms overhead, lengthen. Pointing the toes, lifting the arms and feeling that real full body stretch, fingertips down to toes. And another reason why your knees may hurt in these Janu postures, as well as hips, could be tight quads, tight hip flexors. So if those areas are tight, top of the legs could potentially pull into the knees a little bit more. So this posture is quite good at stretching those areas out. You may feel an arch lift in your back. And then exhale, just hug your knees into your chest and rock from side to side. Keep the back of the head on the floor and then use the hands around the knees or the shins to make circles, undoing any tension that may have built up in the lower back. So you can make big circles or small circles. If you want to work into the hips a little bit more, feel free to take the knees and make separate circles. Whatever you want, whatever feels good. And then take both feet to the floor. So we are going to start with a couple of lion postures just to prep feet, hips. So extend your left leg down the mat, left toes gently pull back, left toes face the ceiling. See if you can press down through the left calf and then take hold of the right shin below the knee. Big inhale, then exhale, squeeze the right leg back. So I come to this posture quite often. It's a really good way to wake up the right hip flexor quad, stretch into the groin. Just trying to keep the upper body relaxed, the shoulders draw down, breath steady. But today, because we need to work the feet, what we're actually going to do is use this more as an ankle opener. So start to make a rotation with the right foot. This may feel a little bit crunchy, not going to lie. Well, it always feels crunchy for me. I think it feels crunchy for most people. So just making a slow rotation, so don't speed through it. Making those circles as big as is comfortable and all the while seeing if we can draw that right thigh back. So we've got some constant gentle pressure to close the gap between the right thigh and the tummy. You can get a bit weird with this as well. I like to really spread my toes and like wiggle my toes as I make these rotations. I think that's really helpful, especially for Janu Si. And then just make that rotation in the opposite direction. So don't forget about the left foot either, so we can still work those left toes by gently pulling them back. And then stop making that rotation, just see if you can hug that right knee in just a smidge more. And then release the right leg. All right, give your legs a shake. So just a little something, just a little ankle opener to start. Let's change sides. So right leg straight down the mat, right toes face ceiling, gently pressing down through that right calf, and then taking hold of the left leg. Big inhale, then as you exhale, just squeezing left leg back. Again, keep those shoulders broad, keep the back of the head down. And then you can start to make that rotation straight away with the left ankle. Just noticing if one foot feels tighter. So we often talk about one hip, one hamstring, one shoulder, but your feet also can be massively different from one another. So making that circle, feeling the differences and ignoring any crunching because that's totally normal. Obviously if there's any pain you want to stop, but a bit of crunching never hurt anyone. So while we make this slow rotation, still gently drawing left leg back, still gently pulling right toes back, and then begin to make that rotation in the opposite direction. Chin tucks in, neck is long, breath is steady. See, this makes my ankle ache. That's how little we work the feet sometimes. My ankle aches just making these rotations. You may be similar, you might find this quite easy. All right, and then stop making that rotation. Let's see if we can just squeeze the left thigh back a little bit more. And then exhale, release. Good. We'll take another cat stretch, point the toes down the mat, arms overhead, lengthen. Especially focusing on the sensations in the tops of the feet, so really point those toes if possible. And then exhale, just hug the knees into the chest, making whichever circles feel good to you. Easing out the lower back. And then we're going to bring both feet to the floor for the last sort of line prep posture we're going to do. So we're going to work into the hips. So I come back to this posture often. It is probably in my top 5. Most postures in my top 5 don't look impressive. They are functional. They are fundamental, but they are not Instagrammable. So this is one of them. So we are going to leave the left foot on the floor, left knee bent. We are going to cross the right foot over the left thigh. Now this actually might be where you want to stay. You might already feel a big opening in the right hip. But if possible, let's pick that left foot up off the floor and take the hands or the strap around the back of the left thigh. So reasons you may want to use a strap. If you feel like you're pulling your arms out your sockets, if you feel like the back of the head wants to lift, and if you feel like the shoulders are crunching forward, you're going to want to use a strap to help. So we want the shoulders to be rolling back. Want the back of the head to be down, chest broad, and while the arms are gently working to ease the left thigh back, they are not overly tense. And then, to isolate the stretch, which you should be feeling in your right bum cheek, right glute, right hip, you want to keep the base of the spine down as well. So if we pick the base of the spine up, you lose the stretch. So it doesn't matter if you are not pulling that left thigh back all the way, just keep the base of the spine down. So being quite controlled with this. And then pulling the toes back, and then maybe get weird with the feet again. Maybe spread the toes, I don't know, might be helpful. And then breathe. So a lot going on in a sort of an easy looking posture. It's a huge stretch. Especially good if you ever get sciatica. So we're stretching the piriformis, which is quite close to the sciatic nerve, and when that piriformis is tight, it can spasm and trigger that pain that runs down your leg. So this is a good posture for that. Good posture for your lower back. And then the angle of your right shin can tell you a lot about your hips. So if the right knee is a lot closer towards the face, and the right foot is further away, it's a sign that your hip is a little bit tight. Over time, as that hip opens, it can rotate and the right knee can pull back and the shin becomes a bit more parallel. So that's a good sort of a measure if you wanted to track your hips. Okay, lovely. So saying that, if you did want to deepen the posture, provided your right knee's okay, you can draw the right knee down the mat as you ease the left thigh back. If your right elbow is making contact with the inner right thigh, you can actually press the leg away as you ease the left thigh back. So a few things you can do to deepen the posture. Nice, slow, steady breaths. We're going to hold it just for a little bit longer. Still keeping the shoulders drawing down, base of the spine pressing into the floor. And then as you exhale, just release. Lovely, uncross your legs, and we'll do exactly the same thing the other side. So crossing the left foot over the right thigh. Staying here if this is where you're at, or picking the right foot up off the floor, hands or strap around the back of the right thigh. Feet active, shoulders down, base of the spine down and neck long. This is my tight side. There is a humongous difference between my left hip and my right hip. So I feel this like very intense in my right hip, right glute, left hip, left glute, but you may be different. So checking in and noticing, constant but gentle pressure to bring the right thigh back. Any discomfort in the knees, you want to relax the posture a little bit. And then just holding it here. You have all the same options. You have the same option to take the left knee back as you ease the right thigh back. You can press the left elbow on the inside of the left thigh to do that movement if you want. Just going to be holding this for a little while longer. Keeping the breath steady, few more moments. I think this is a good posture to do every day. I think this is one that you should add in every single day. Not that I'm telling you what to do, but you may notice a bigger difference in your hips if you do this every day for a little while. So this can also be a yin posture, so it can be held for a very long time as well, 5 minutes or more if you've got a particularly nasty yin teacher. And then exhale, release. Lovely. Uncross the legs. Let's take a cat stretch. Point the legs down the mat, arms overhead, lengthen. One last time. Just make yourself as long as possible. And then one last time, hug your knees into your chest, rock from side to side. Okay, so those were our lovely prep postures. Good prep postures. Good for the feet, good for the hips. And then once you've done your little rolls, we are going to come up in to seated. So I'm sorry in advance for this. This is going to be something specifically for your feet. I teach it quite often. It's just a very good posture, but we're going to do it again. All right, and this, I'm telling you now, for Janu C, which is a real toe cruncher, and we'll have a look at it later, this is such a good preparation posture for it. So come into all fours, we'll do it together. It's quite easy to get into, not so easy to hold. All right, and then from here we're going to bring the knees together, feet together, and then we're going to tuck the toes. Now, get the toes on the floor, press down through the toes, and this could be where you stay. If this is enough of a foot stretch, you may want to stay with the hands underneath the shoulders. But to deepen the posture, you just simply walk the hands back and take the hips back. You can stop whenever you feel like it's a good place to stop. Otherwise, we're going to see if we can come up to kneeling. We're going to place the hands on the thighs and we are going to sit down on the heels. The toes are tucked. Huge stretch into the feet. And funnily enough, this really is very similar to the position in Janu C, which we'll come to later. So very simple. If you want to make this slightly less challenging, you bring the hips forward. Otherwise, you just bring the hips back. And then we're going to hold it here for a few deep breaths. I like to place the hands on the thighs. If you want to do hands in prayer, if you want to take the elbows for an added shoulder stretch, you can go ahead and do that. Oh, we don't really care about the shoulders today. Focus on the feet. So deep, slow breaths. So if you're up to kneeling, just make sure that you've still got that nice long spine. You're still drawing the tummy in, extending through the crown of the head. And we're going to be holding this for a count of 5, but a slow 5. I feel like we've been here long enough, but 5. 4, deep, steady breaths, doing a really good job. 3, 2, and 1. Amazing. So listen to me carefully because we're also going to come into another foot stretch from this if possible. We're going to bring the weight forward, hands are going to come underneath the shoulders and then come down onto the tops of the feet. Okay, now we're going to see if we can come into a top of the foot stretch. So from here, we're going to take the weight back, we're going to come and sit on our heels, we're going to walk the hands back, feet and knees are still together, and then we're going to press into the hands and see if we can lift up onto the tops of the feet. Don't worry if this isn't happening, just give it a go. So I've got quite a bit of weight in my feet, but I'm really supporting the posture with a lot of arm strength here as well. Knees are together, we're just going to hold this, so getting into the tops of the toes. This one, quite good for Janu B, I suppose. And then just release. Lovely. Good. Knees down, and we're going to take child's pose. So for the purpose of this class, let's bring the knees as wide as the mat, keep the feet together, keep the bum and the heels as close together as possible, and then just walk the hands forward. And then you can stay upright or you can come forehead. It's more important to keep the bum and the heels close together than it is to get the body flat on the floor. Again, a really lovely passive stretch for hips, for groin, for lower back. Okay, and then as you inhale, just pop yourselves back up into all four, and we're going to come into downward dog. So fingers spread underneath the shoulders, feet hip width apart and parallel, tuck the toes, send the hips up and back. Downward dog. Right, so you don't have to have the legs straight. You can bend the knees as much as you need to. The heels can be off the floor. Just make sure that we're trying to draw the thighs to the back of the room, that the head is relaxed, the head drops down between the arms, and the fingers are spread, and you're pressing down through the fingers and the palms. So if there's a gap underneath the fingers, you want to flatten that down. Tilting the hips up towards the ceiling. Going to draw a deeper stretch in the top of the legs. You can pedal one heel out and then the other if you want to. Yogi's choice there. And over time what we're trying to achieve is like a 90-degree angle. So trying to get a straight line from the hands, up the arms, up the spine, shooting out the back of the legs. Holding it here just for a few more moments. If you're pedaling, maybe take your hip back as you draw your heel back. Really starts to target up towards the glutes. And then if you are pedaling, stop pedaling, and we're actually going to come down into Malasana, a little yogi squat. So as you inhale, you're either going to step or jump your feet to the outside of your hands. You're going to lower your bum down and you're going to come into your little yogi squat. So again, another sort of, this is a tricky posture, I'm not going to lie, this is a hard posture, but fundamental, probably in my top 5. Just really good for the hips, the groin, the lower back. And then if possible, let's take the hands into prayer. So you may struggle, a lot of people do, to get the heels down. If you can't get the heels down, it really isn't a problem. You just come up onto the balls of the feet with the heels lifted. The only thing is balance. So if you don't have the heels down and you're struggling to take prayer, then bring your hands to the floor and you can use the fingertips to stabilize the posture. Otherwise, you can take the hands into prayer, it doesn't matter. It's a balance thing. And then we're using the hands against the legs to press, a bit of resistance, opening up across the pelvis, working into the groin and the hips, and then sinking the hips down. Really tempting, I say this a lot, to roll the shoulders forward. It just happens, it's not a conscious thing. Over time, let's see if we can broaden the chest, roll the shoulders back and extend through the crown of the head so the spine is long. Nice, slow, steady breaths, doing a good job. So tricky posture. The feet turn out ever so slightly. Over time, if there is a really gnarly version of this posture where you have your feet together and the knees wide, you bind behind your back. So I believe, I'm of the opinion that over time we want to get the feet parallel, but that can be a little bit harsher on the knees. So for this class, feet out is fine. I always have a chat in this posture. But we want to hold it for a little bit, so deep slow breaths up into the chest. I also quite like to wiggle in this posture. I like to shift from side to side. I don't know if that's cheating, but you can do that if you want. My class, you can wiggle from side to side if you want, working into the hips. Yeah, have some fun. Alright, okay, well, stop doing that now because we're going to come up standing. So as you inhale, push into the feet, up you come. Feeling the work in the glutes that lift you. And then you can just give your legs a wiggle. Sometimes I forget it's my class. Sometimes I'm like, yeah, you can wiggle if you want it in a posture, no problem. So give your legs a shake. So, feet, hips, knees. That's our focus. Now we're going to come through a lot of sun salutations now, and after every sun salutation we are going to come into a posture for feet, knees, hips. So come to the front of your mats. I feel like I wanted to put some sun salutations in today. It's so miserable outside. I was like, sun salutations. Plus just good to warm the body up. So feet together, ankles apart, lift the shoulders, allow them to fall back, and then head slightly tilted forward. So actually, let's hold this for a little while, because there's a lesson to be had here. So this is a posture in itself. It's Samastahiti, equal standing. So close your eyes. Usually we'd have them open, but just close your eyes. Spread your toes as wide as you can, and then feel those little balances going on in your feet. So the body is constantly shifting. Now if you try to hold this standing posture for 5 minutes with your eyes closed, you're going to be all over the place. It's a balance. So we are sharing the weight between the toes, the heels, the outside and inner edges of the feet. Okay, pressing down through the feet, lifting through the legs, shoulders relaxed, arms relaxed, chin tucks in ever so slightly. Deep, slow breaths. And as soon as you become aware of those balances in the feet, it becomes a little bit more challenging. Okay, just a few more moments. I just want you to feel that contact. Again, incredibly grounding, you know. Barefoot, being barefoot's great. I don't wear shoes anymore, hardly. So just feeling that connection between yourself and the mat. Oh, I'm so spiritual today. I think I'm having an emotional moment. I like feel the connection between the feet and the mat. I feel like a tear coming to my eye. All right, let's begin the sun salutation. So open your eyes. Let's start. So as you inhale, swoop the arms up, look up. All right, good. And then exhale, fold, hands to floor, drop the head. Okay, forward fold, legs can be bent. Then inhale, look forward, lengthen, your choice. Exhale, step or jump back to plank, and then lower till I press up on the floor. Inhale, back bend, tops of the feet, so working those feet again. Then exhale, roll over the toes into downward dog, working the toes. And then hold your downward dogs for 5 deep breaths, head relaxed. 4, legs push back. 3, maybe tilt the hips up towards the ceiling. 2, and then 1. On your inhale, you're either stepping or jumping your feet between your hands, look forward. Exhale, drop the head, forward fold. And then inhale, we're swooping up, looking up. And then exhale, arms by your side. Good. I'm in such a weird mood today. Okay, 2 forward folds, 2 Ashtanga forward folds. Again, getting intimately acquainted with our feet. So what I want you to do is the first forward fold, we're going to take hold of the big toes first, 2 fingers and thumbs. I want you to lift the toes to meet the hands, okay? So instead of just going down and picking the toes up, we're going to lift the toes to meet the hands. So it's going to be quite fun. There's just a little different thing to do. So feet hip width apart and parallel, hands to hips. So inhale, look up, find some length. You can bend your knees in these, by the way. And then exhale, fold. Now fold, lift the toes up to meet the hands, the big toes lifted, and then take hold of those toes, first 2 fingers and thumbs, keep the thumbs off the mat. And then inhale, look forward, lengthen, and then exhale, fold, drop the head, coming into our forward fold. Beautiful. So legs can be bent. It's more important to see if we can get the belly and the thighs close together than it is to have the legs dead straight. What happens if the legs are dead straight and the belly leaves the thighs is that the back over-rounds. So head relax, few more moments here. Shoulders pull up towards the waist so the neck has plenty of room. And then inhale, look forward. And then if possible, exhale, hands underneath the feet. We're standing on our hands, toes right up in towards the wrist. If that's not happening, just keep hold of the toes. Inhale, look forward again. And then exhale, fold. Crown of the head falls towards the floor. And you can actually feel the toes in the wrists. So, yeah, feet. Okay, beautiful. Few more moments. Hips high, head low. Keeping the back of the knees soft if your legs are quite straight, so we don't want to be locking the knees. And then inhale, look forward. And then exhale, hands to waist, hover for a moment, then bend your knees. Inhale, come up. So good, starting to strengthen the knees by doing that movement. And then come to the front of your mat. Beautiful. Feet are weird if you think about it too much. Coming through another sun salutation. So spreading your toes, feeling your feet, lifting the shoulders, allowing them to fall back. And then inhale, swooping the arms up, looking up. Exhale, fold, hands to floor, drop the head. Inhale, look forward, lengthen. And then exhale, feet back and lower. Inhale, pull through a back bend, tops of the feet, shoulders back. Then exhale, roll over the toes into downward dog. Hold in your downward dogs for 5, head relaxed. 4, deep breaths through the nose. 3, 2, and 1. So as you inhale, feet forward, look forward. Exhale, drop the head. And then inhale, swooping the arms up, swooping them up. And then exhale, arms by your side. Lovely, give your body a shake. Beautiful. So, okay, knees, yes, knees. Chair. We're not going to be doing the Ashtanga chair today. We're going to be doing just a sort of generic yoga chair. So, Ashtanga chair is actually a little bit weird because I teach Ashtanga and I practice Ashtanga. It's the one that I've always sort of done. And everyone's like, what? Chair. Everyone comes into like a traditional chair rather than an Ashtanga chair, which is totally different. An Ashtanga chair is very, 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 very good at strengthening the ankles and the feet, but I just wanted to do a normal chair today. So just watch me for a second. We're going to come into this. I just want to make you aware of something. So when we come into chair, this time we're going to have the feet hip width apart and parallel. And what we do is we sit in an imaginary chair. So we sink the bum back. Woo! Okay, like we're sitting in an imaginary chair. What you want to see, if you can do, is see your toes from underneath your knees. Otherwise you might have gone forward too much. We want to make it hard. We want to sink the weight back. So if you can see your toes, you're in sort of the right place. Eventually thighs become a bit more parallel. But just look at my back for a second. So we don't want to be here. We don't want to stick the butt out. If that's you, you want to round the back a little bit and tuck the tailbone under. But we don't want to over tuck. If you over tuck as well, you're going to pull into the back. We're aiming for a neutral spine, okay, which retains its natural curves. From the outside looks relatively straight. So we're not over tucking. I've been in this for a long time. And we're not sticking our bum out. And then once you're in your chair and you've sort of had a little look at your butt, you're going to raise the arms so they're in line with the back and you're going to look down. Oh my God, I've seen that for so long. Give your legs a shake. You haven't even done anything, give my legs a shake. All right, let's do it. So this is a great posture for your feet. It's a great posture for your knees. Really good at strengthening into the quads. So, here we go. Stand with your feet hip width apart. Spread the toes, because it's a foot class. Feel the weight. You're going to feel the weight coming to your heels as well. Now, sink down and back. Sitting in an imaginary chair. Take your time. Okay, then just make sure you can see your toes poking out from underneath your knees, otherwise you're too far forward. Have a little feel of your butt. Is your butt sticking out? If so, tuck it under. Are you over tucking? If so, release that tension. And then take your arms up. Make sure your arms are in line with your back and then hold it here. I'm right there with you. Weight is back, hips are down. So good for your ankles though. Hold it for 5, 4, 3, 2, oh my God, and 1. Come up. Oh my God. Give your legs down. So dramatic. Give your legs a shake. Lovely. Come to the front of your mats. You feel it, don't you? So what you feel is the quads. What you don't feel is how good it is for your ankles. So feet together, legs together. Lift the shoulders, allow them to fall back. Head slightly tilted forward. And then as you inhale, swoop the arms up, look up. Exhale, fold, hands to floor, drop the head. Inhale, look forward, lengthen. Your choice, exhale, step, jump back, and lower. Inhale, a back bend. Then exhale, downward dog. Hold your dogs. I'm gonna have a drink. You hold your dogs for 5. Deep breaths. 4, 3, 2, and 1. So as you inhale, feet forward, look forward. Exhale, drop the head. And then inhale, swooping the arms up, looking up. And then exhale, arms by your side. Lovely. From here, take a big step out with your right foot. So you're coming into this wide leg position. So you're coming into goddess pose, because I like to suffer. Now, with this, we're just going to do it. We're going to do it and then listen to me. So turn your heels in, turn your toes out to face the corners of the long side of your mat, and then sink your hips down. So it doesn't matter how far you come down, but over time we are trying to get the thighs parallel. But, don't let the knees fall in. Happens a lot. Keep the knees over the ankles, and if that means you have to come up a bit higher, come up a bit higher. If you let the knees fall in, you lose that stretch on the inner thighs and the hips. Try not to lean forward. Happens again, happens a lot. So tuck the tailbone under ever so slightly, extend through the crown of the head, and then take your hands into prayer. Lovely. 4, 5, keep sinking those hips. 4, keep the knees over the ankles. 3, 2, and 1. Inhale, come up, and then exhale, step to the front of the mats. Last sun salutation. So, inhale, swooping the arms up. Exhale, fold, hands to floor, drop the head. Inhale, look forward, lengthen. And then exhale, back to plank, lower. Inhale, pull through your back bend, tops of the feet. And then exhale, roll over the toes. You're coming into downward facing dog. Hold it here for 5, 4, maybe noticing if the heels can come down a little bit more. 3, doing a great job. 2, and 1. So as you inhale, feet forward, look forward. Exhale, drop the head, and then inhale, swooping the arms up, looking up, and then exhale, arms by your side. Okay, so I just want to do this one. So we're going to take a big step out of the right foot again, coming back into goddess. So turning the heels in, toes face the corners of the long edge of the mat, and then sinking the hips down, making sure those knees stay drawing back over the ankles, taking your hands into prayer. So you can stay here, otherwise we can do some tiptoe things. All right, so either stay in here, or as you inhale, come up onto your tiptoes, and then exhale, drop the heels. Inhale, tiptoes, and then exhale, drop the heels. Inhale up, oh my God. And then exhale down, it's experimental. Inhale up. And then exhale down, last one. Inhale up, why do I do this? Exhale down, good. And then inhale all the way up. And then step to the front of your mats. Give your legs a shake. We're coming down to seated. We're going to come through a sun salutation into seated, so legs together. Lift your shoulders, allow them to fall back, head slightly tilted forward. And then as you inhale, arms up, look up. Exhale, fold. Inhale, look forward. Exhale, back. And lower. Inhale, back bend. Exhale, dog. And then from downward dog, we're coming into seated however you're working it. You can try your jump throughs or you can just step. And we're in seated. Oh, that goddess pose kills me every time. I actually quite like the online classes because I feel like I'm right there with you. Struggling right there with you. Cheers. Anyway. nearly time. So those goddess poses, those chair poses, very, very good to work on strengthening your knees, preparing the ankles, okay? I know they're hard. Any balance, really, as well as anything where you bend the knees and hold, very good for that sort of region. Also, obviously, for the hips too. So we're just going to do Dandasana, 3 forward folds, and then we're going to have a look at these Janu postures. So Dandasana is actually Dandasana, Paschimottanasana, first postures in the seated sequence. And we've been talking about Janus as predominantly hip openers, ankle openers, knee things, but they are also forward folds. So we have done some forward folds today. Every seated posture in Ashtanga is a forward fold effectively, up until boat anyway. So just get the legs straight out in front. If you work the toes back, you can even do that thing that we've been working on, spreading the toes really wide. And then Dandasana, sit up nice and tall, move forward on your sit bones, draw your tummy in, and then take the hands either side of the hips. Chin tucks in towards chest, shoulders gently draw together, and then the elbows spin in. And we'll hold it here. So really strong posture, pressing down through the heels. Holding it here. Deep breaths. If your legs are shaking, totally normal. Almost like we're trying to imagine we're sitting up against a wall. Okay, and then just exhale, release the tension, but keep the legs straight to begin with, and then reach forward, take hold of your big toes first, do fingers and thumbs. So if you cannot take hold of your big toes at this point, bend the knees as much as you need to, all right? And then inhale, look forward, straighten the arms, and then we lead in with the chest as we exhale, fold. So imagine you're pulling your chest down towards the shins. The head relaxes when you're in your fold. If your legs are bent, absolutely perfect. If your body doesn't come down very much, absolutely perfect. This is one of those patient postures. And then hold it here for 1. So keep the shoulders drawing back towards the waist. 2, keep the neck relaxed. 3, feel that stretch right from calves all the way to lower back. 4, and 5. So as you inhale, look forward. I love this version of the forward fold. You don't see it in regular classes all that often because they skip it, but I love it. There's quite a few variations of this actually. We're going to do this 3 times. The second time round, we're going to take the tops of the feet. So the thumbs come right on top of the toes, and then we're going to pull the toes back. Again, a great prep for Janu C. Then as you inhale, look forward while you're pulling those toes back, and then exhale again, fold. Lead in with the chest, head relaxes, and then keep those shoulders pulling back and the elbows broad. For 1, bend the knees as much as you need to. 2, slightly deeper stretch in the old hamstrings now, if that was even possible. 3, 4, and 5. So inhale, look forward again. Now your choice, you can either repeat big toes, you can repeat this one. If you have the room, you're going to see if you can bind your wrist behind your feet. Only if you have the room, if not, no worries. Wherever you are, inhale, lift. And then exhale, fold for 1, 2, you can't hear me in this, 3, I've got to keep my mouth not in my knees, 4, and 5, lovely. Inhale, look forward, and then exhale, just release the posture, give your legs a shake, maybe come onto your back, tug your knees into your chest, rock from side to side. So you really feel that, like the whole posterior chain, right from the heels almost, all the way up the legs into the lower back. Such an intense posture. And it's exactly the same. The Ashtanga standing postures we done, those 2 forward folds, as the 2 seated postures. You'll find that a lot. Seated postures in Ashtanga, you can often match them up with a standing partner. So it's like you do them standing first and then you do them seated. and then pop yourselves back up. Here we go. So the first one we're going to have a look at, and this is the order they come in, is Janu A. Janu Sirsasana A. And if B and C don't work for you, the options, as well as some of the modifications we can look at, the option is to stay in A, to just repeat A 3 times until there comes a time where you're ready to do B or C. So one of the mistakes in A, so bear in mind every single seated posture starts from Dandasana, okay, so it starts from that position we practiced then, every one. So one of the issues in A is that people move around a lot. So people sort of go like this. You know, they move the hips around a lot, and fair play, you know, you're just trying to figure it out. We don't move the hips. At the moment, you know, if I'd done that, my hips are way out of sync. So you don't move the hips at all. So what you do is come into Dandasana, all right? Legs straight, hips face forward. Then without moving the hips, just bring the right foot back as high up the inner left thigh as possible. So now you haven't moved the hips stay facing forward, okay? The right knee comes out at a 90-degree angle. You can actually put a block or something underneath the right knee. Have I got one? Yeah, so if you do have sensitive knees, one thing to do is you can put a block underneath it, sometimes helps. Another thing that I'm a big fan of doing is to actually flex my right foot on the floor. So I really keep that right foot active, almost like I'm pressing the right heel in the inner left thigh, and that helps keep my knee joint a little bit sturdier. You also want to make sure that knee joint's closed, so the calf and the thigh are hugging towards one another, all right? So this is a starting position. You can do all of those things. The next thing we want to do is we want to see if we can line the chest up with the left shin, which is almost like a very mini rotation. We're not rotating massive, but almost like a little mini rotation to do that. And then you take anywhere up the leg, okay? So you can take the foot, you can bind, you can take the shin. The same thing as Paschimottanasana, that forward fold. You inhale, lift, you lead with the chest. As you exhale, fold down that straight left leg. So this is head to knee pose, so it just gives you an idea of eventually where we're going. Don't worry if that's not happening, all right? And then you relax the neck when you're in this posture. So a couple of things now we're in it. You want to keep the elbows level, and you want to keep the shoulders drawing back towards the waist. You want to also roll the right hip down towards the floor. So if I were to adjust this posture, I'd have my hand in your right hip crease. I would roll your right hip down as I ease your body forward. So there's an opposing force going on. The right hip's rolling down, the body's leaning forward, and eventually hopefully feeling an opening in the right hip. So just hold it here for 5. But if you are having knee problems, just really keep that right heel pressing into the inner left thigh, keep the right toes pulling back. 4. Every inhale, seeing if you can find a bit more room. 3, keep the left foot active. 2, 2, and 1. So as you inhale, just look forward, and then exhale, release the posture, lovely. And we're just gonna move on to the other side. So straighten that right leg. So from Dandasana, we're not moving the hips, we're not doing any funky movements. Very simply, you're gonna take your left foot back. As high up the right thigh as you can get it. Make sure the left knee is closed. Maybe really flex that left foot on the floor, pressing the heel in the inner right thigh. Little rotation, very, very slight to line the chest up with the shin, and then take your grip and then inhale, lift, exhale, fold. Elbows level, shoulders draw back for 1. Hopefully eventually 2, feeling that opening in the left hip. 3, 4, and 5. So inhale, you look forward, and then exhale, you release the posture, straighten your legs, give your legs a shake. Amazing. So hopefully that felt okay, because B and C are much, much, much more brutal. So we're going to move on to B. Now, if B really doesn't work for you, you repeat A, okay? That is your option. You just do A again. Now, this happens a lot in B. So B is a bit of a bugbear of mine. So in B, what we have to do is lift the butt up and sit on the heel. It's supposed to help us engage Mula Bandha, which is like the pelvic floor lifts up, and it's something to do like that. Something to do with your core. You sit on your heel. I didn't make the rules. But what happens if you watch me is this. So in Janu B, we start in A. Dandasana, draw the foot back, and this is our starting position, okay? Now, I don't know if you can see my foot. Hopefully you can, I'm also gonna describe it. So with this, the foot stays facing forward, okay? The toes stay facing forward. The foot does not move. The ankle does not move. You keep your foot flexing forward. This is what you do, this is the posture. Now, when you come into this, you are in A. You put your hands either side of your hips. You pick your bum up. The foot does not move. And you sit on your heel. You move forward and the right thigh, in this case, rolls on top of the right calf, okay? So the right thigh is on top of the right calf. The knee comes in around 85 degrees. The foot hasn't moved. The toes are still facing forward. I can see my right toe poking out from underneath my left thigh, and then I take the bind and fold forward if appropriate. What happens a lot is this, and totally understand because it's a really complicated posture, but what happens a lot is this. People do this. Ooh, they come up, they move their foot back for some reason, so now the toes are literally underneath my left bum cheek facing left towards back. And then this is really, really uncomfortable, and it's not good long term for your ankle. So we're going to see if we can come into B. If this isn't working, please just repeat A. Right, so Dandasana first, let's set it up. Take your right foot back into A, not moving the hips. The hips stay facing forward. Now, flex your right foot on the floor, pull your toes back. This right foot is not floppy, it's active, okay? It's going to help with the knee as well. Your right foot is not going to move. Your right toes are going to face forward. Your right heel is going to stay where it is. Hands either side of the body. Lift your bum up, move your bum forward, sit on your heel. Your right thigh rolls on top of your right calf. Your right toes poke out from underneath your left leg. The toes are facing forward. This knee comes in about 85 degrees. You can stay here to get a feel for the posture. It's not the most comfortable, okay? I'm just gonna say. Or you can fold. If you're folding, fold. Inhale, then exhale. If you're upright, just stay there. For 1, 2, if you fold it, elbows level, shoulders pull back. 3, slightly deeper hamstring stretch. 4, and 5. So inhale, look forward, and then exhale, release the posture, roll up, leg forward. Give your legs a shake. All right, we're gonna do the same thing the other side. It isn't the most comfortable. I'm not gonna pretend B or C feel great. They aren't the most comfortable postures, okay? They are weird postures. But any sharp or shooting pain, just come back to A. If there's a slight level of discomfort, as in discomfort that you're just getting used to the posture, then okay. So let's try the other side, Dandasana. Without moving the hips, let's bring that left foot back. Left foot active, left toes pull back, left toes face forward, left foot does not move. You pick up your bum, you sit on your heel. The left thigh rolls on top of the left calf. The left knee moves in 85 degrees. You should be able to see your left toe poking out from underneath your right thigh. Staying upright with the hands on the floor, or taking whichever grip you're taking. Inhale, lift, and exhale, fold. Elbows level, shoulders draw back for 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Inhale up, look up, and then exhale, release the posture, come off of your foot, straighten your legs, and give your legs a shake. Okay. I'm aware that I've sort of run out of time, but we're doing C because it's a Janu A, B and C class and it's my class. So we've got 5 more minutes, don't worry, I won't keep you any more than 5 more minutes, but we do need to have a look at C because, you know, we just do. I did spend the first 5 minutes talking about like how sad everyone was, so it's fine. So Janu C. Again, your option is to repeat A, you can repeat B if you don't like C, or we can have a go at C. Now all the footwork we've been doing has been preparing us for this moment. It's a toe crunching posture. So I'm going to show you what it looks like first. There's lots of ways. There's a couple of ways to get into this posture. So we stay in Dandasana, obviously is the first step. And this time we actually need to take the foot, this is my right foot in this case, and then I'm holding onto the heel with the left hand and I'm pulling my right toes back, okay? Also working into the hip a little bit here, and this is actually a place you can stay. You can stay here, this is an option, just to work those toes back, to move the hip back, provided that right knee doesn't hurt, so that you are preparing the feet and preparing the hips to eventually come into the posture. Otherwise, what you do is you need to rotate the foot, place the toes on the floor, and then this bit's quite important, you need to press the right sole of the foot in a left thigh, but this bit is the important bit. You need to move the weight forward, okay? You need to move the weight forward. This is obviously asking a lot of the ankles and the knees. My heel is up, facing up in towards my tummy. The right toes are on the floor. This is the thing that is gonna help make this a little bit sturdier for your knees. You need to press the sole of the right foot on the inner left thigh. That resistance is gonna protect the knee. The knee, do never push it down, ever, 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 and make sure that the knee joint is closed. The calf is pressing into the thigh. Now, it's really hit and miss whether I'm able to fold because of my knees when I come into this posture. So sometimes I just stay upright, sometimes I just fold forward a little bit. Either way, keep the inside of the right foot pressing into the left thigh. Some people actually love this posture, so if that is you, feel free to bind, okay? The other way to come into this posture, if you don't want to hold your foot and do the foot flip thing, is the way I come into it, which is just from A. I start in A, and then very simply I move the weight forward as I pick up onto my toes, and then I wiggle into the posture that way. Some people say to bring their knee forward. Some people bring their knee forward quite a lot. I don't know how I would do that, but you can also, the knee can move way forward in this. It's not, doesn't have to be at an 85, 90 degree angle. Just my body doesn't seem to like to do it. So legs straight. Let's give it a go, shall we? And then we're done. So Dandasana, starting Dandasana. I feel like we're going to do the first way to come into it. So keep that left leg straight, and then very simply pick up your right foot, hold on to your right heel with the left hand, and then just like we were doing in that forward fold, really work those right toes back. So you've got the thumb over the big toe, that's it. And then sit up straight, and you can actually push the hip back as well, so the knee comes way back if you want an added thing of working into the hips, provided that right knee works. And this is step number 1, okay? This is a good place to stay. Now, if you are coming into C, at this point you need to rotate the ankle so the toes face down. Place the toes on the floor, all 5 of them. The right sole of the foot is on the inner left thigh and the heel is facing up. You take your hands either side of the body and you move the weight forward, okay? Then you press the sole of the right foot on the inner left thigh. Maybe moving that right knee forward. Do not push that right knee down, okay? So it has to be quite active to help with that potential knee pain. And staying upright or taking anywhere up that leg, inhale, lift, and exhale, fold. All right, for 1. So eventually feeling the heel press into the tummy. 2, 3, 4, and 5. So inhale, look forward. Exhale, release, straighten the leg. Give your legs a shake. Fab. And we'll just do the other side and then we're going to come into Shavasana. So thanks for sticking with me, guys. So we're going to leave the right leg straight. Let's do the same thing. So taking hold of the left foot, left heel with right hand, and then really working those left toes back, potentially even taking the knee back a little bit to open up into the hip. So where you stay, or you switch the toes, so the toes are on the floor now, the heel faces up, Move the weight forward. I've got a radiator in my way. Then press the inside of the left foot on the right thigh quite strongly, okay? Be mindful of left knee. Left knee is closed, don't push left knee down. Staying upright or anywhere up that leg and you fold. For 1. So trying to get all 5 toes on the floor. 2, eventually heel presses in towards tummy. 3, no idea where I'm counting now. 2, wasn't sure which way I was going, I always change it up. And 1, lovely. Inhale, look forward, then exhale, release, straighten that leg, give your legs a shake. And I feel like it's time to come into Shavasana now. So come straight into Shavasana, no cool down for you. So you're going to come into Shavasana. At this point, it really probably would feel quite good to give your legs a shake, because those postures, they are a lot on the knees, the ankles, we held them for a little bit. And then once you've done shaking out your legs, you can just lie flat on the floor, have the knees bent, soles of the feet together, whatever feels good for you, and then just take a moment to relax. So I actually want you to stay here for 1 more minute. So letting the breath come back to normal, then letting every single muscle in your body totally go. So we've done so much stuff with the hips today, the knees and the feet, that hopefully your lower body is ready to relax. In Shavasana, we're not forcing the outside of the feet to hit the floor. It's not like it's an active thing, but over time as the hips open, that movement just quite organically happens. And then the shoulders relax, the palms face up, and just stay here for a few more breaths. Okay, I am so late today. Please stay in Shavasana for a little bit longer if you fancy it. I really recommend you do stay here for a little bit longer, but because I have literally run over by like 5 minutes, I'm going to call this a day. Once you are ready to come out of Shavasana, take a cat stretch, hug your knees in, do whatever movements feel good, and then get on with the rest of your day. Get on with the rest of your day with a little spring in your step. All right, thank you so much for joining me. Enjoy your the rest of your Shavasana, really complicated postures. Yeah, and just like I said at the beginning, keep your chins up. Keep my chin up, keep your chins up, and then we will get through this. It'll be good. I know the weather's crap, but do some sun salutations. Let's bring the sun out. Alright, so see you later. I was going to say namaste. I'm really in the mood today. Alright, thank you for joining me. Right, bye.